I know. Okay, I'm gonna be recording this today, so if you see me fiddling around over here, just kind of an explanation for what I'm doing. So hopefully when you came in, you signed this little piece of paper just so I can keep track of who showed up. My name is Mr. Robinson, and some of you are my students, and some of you maybe I'd talked to in the last week or so and you found out about the trip. So, let's get started. This is also my wife. This is Mrs. Robinson, Kimberly Robinson, and she joins me on my trip. And also Mr. Knight joins us on the trip too. I'll be keeping my eye out for people walking by. Yeah, you come here. If you want to sign. So obviously we are here right now. So the trip is a trip to Japan, and the dates are June 5th to June 14th. And those dates kind of just got established. It's another thing where if you look at the paperwork you have, the dates are a little bit wrong because when you're planning these trips like 2 years in advance, you don't know when graduation and stuff is. So those are the actual dates. That is a Friday until I'm not even sure. But essentially our last day of school, if you were a junior or sophomore, would be the Thursday, and then we leave the next day on our trip. Feel free to grab whatever paperwork you'd like when you come in. Okay. I'm going to show a lot of this stuff like our code to join remind if you want to get text message updates about the trip, and our website and stuff. It's all over that pink paper as well if you grabbed it when you came in the room, so don't feel like you need to jot this down. So obviously I love travel so much. Me and my wife have traveled on a whole bunch of student trips, probably somewhere between 12, 13 trips. A lot of times at the beginning it was to New York City and Washington, D.C. with students. And then lately in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, it's been trips to Europe with this company that I'll be talking about today, ACIS. ACIS is, they're a pretty high-end company. I joke with the kids that they're kind of bougie. Because I've traveled with other companies. Has anybody ever done international travel like with a group of students before? There is a company that a lot of teachers use a different company that I'm not using called EF Tours. EF Tours is perhaps a little better price, but I've done it a few times and the hotels you stay at are really bad. The food you eat is really bad. So we are paying a little bit more for this tour, but the trade-off is we'll stay in very nice hotels. We will eat very nice meals, especially our breakfast and our dinner. So that's why I chose this company. I've traveled with them. This will be my 4th trip. We're always thrilled with the quality of the trip and the hotel. Other companies too, they'll put you in bed with with students in bed with other students, sharing a bed. You don't have to do any of that kind of stuff on this trip. So all those things are kind of built into the price. And so the price includes our hotel, our airfare, all the entry into all the different places that we're going to go, all the activities that we're going to do. It includes Disneyland. I'm going to talk about Disneyland, and we added a day to the trip. So ACIS, unlike other companies that we stayed in the past where you stay in Paris and they put you an hour outside the city in your hotel and you feel like pressure to leave and get on the road back to your hotel, not ACIS. You're actually going to be staying in the city center. And so we can stay out, till 10 or 11 at night and experience the culture and have a late night snack as a group and have a good time together and not have to get on the road to go an hour outside of town. In fact, I see people that are familiar, this is Nixon, his sister, Madeline traveled with me a year or two ago, I guess 1 year ago in the summer. And he's back, and then Charlie, friend of Aiden, Charlie just came back from a trip in the summertime. So these are students they've gone before and they're kind of interested in wanting to go again. I have high standards when it comes to food in hotels, and the food that we eat is really top notch. The breakfasts are typically all you can eat. Now, I've never been to Japan, so I mentioned that in the past I've gone to Europe. We're doing something a little bit different this time. And so I heard you're going to watch a video from a friend of mine, but he's going to say the breakfasts are interesting. I don't really know what that means. And the food, the dinners are absolutely fantastic. The only thing that's not included in the trip is your lunches. And the lunches are typically something where we have free time and the students are exploring, and some students might pick an authentic Japanese meal and some students might pick McDonald's or Burger King. So it's that's really the only thing you have to pay for, that and souvenirs. So lunches and souvenirs. We also have a guide from ACIS. Like I don't sit there and make all the hotel reservations and everything. That's what the company is for. And so when we went to Europe, we've always had this amazing guide named Libby, and she takes care of everything. Any kind of problem, somebody has a sniffly nose, she goes and gets medicine. She's with us at all times from 6 in the morning, till midnight. She stays in our hotel, and it's the same story in Japan. We'll have a guide who's with us all the time. They're a representative of the company, and they make sure that the tour goes super smoothly. And if I'm ever upset with anything, they fix it, they make it right. They'll buy us a night of karaoke in Japan or something to fix any kind of problem that we would have. So very good company, and there's a reason that I choose them, even though there are a little bit of cheaper alternatives. I'm going to play for you a video from my friend Scott. He works for ACIS. It's just a couple minutes long. I asked him if he could talk about the company and tell you guys something that maybe you didn't know.
Hey, this is Scott Martin. I want to let you know a couple things that I love about ACIS. First of all, who am I? I was a teacher for 18 years, traveled with students for 10 years with ACIS. I actually left teaching for 2 years and worked for ACIS. Now I'm back in the classroom, looking forward to my next trip with students. So I've done this a lot, and it's one of my favorite things. Sean will probably go over this in the meeting, but it's all about the quality, knowing that the students and all the participants are going to have the greatest time on this trip of a lifetime that will hopefully create more and more trips of a lifetime. So the hotels are amazing. Specifically in Japan, I went there 3 years ago with ACIS on a teacher trip. And the hotels were always such high quality, great locations like always with the ACIS quality. Amazing food, especially in Japan. The students are going to eat so many different types of food, from the fish and the sushi. And I will say the breakfast on the trips to Japan are kind of an experience in and of themselves. So the students are going to have a pretty wild breakfast. And then dinner, doing the Japanese barbecue and all the different activities. The cup noodle museum is really, really fun. So the food is going to be an adventure, and it'll push the students to try new things and kind of experience. And especially at lunch, the lunch spots they're going to get to choose from are going to be pretty diverse, and the markets are awesome in Japan. And then, so specifically for the highlights of Japan, we have so many great activities going from Tokyo and moving all the way down to Kyoto and the different cities. And then always the best thing for me is our tour managers. We have amazing tour managers in Japan that know so much about the history and culture. And they're going to learn about the history. A lot of the history comes down to Shintoism and modern day what's happened since World War II. And then they'll learn about the Meiji Restoration. So kind of want to show you a few quick highlights. If I can go away, and I'll pull up the map. Is for me, the big highlights were seeing Tokyo, because everyone knows about Tokyo. Just being able to walk the streets, seeing the little alleyways, eating in amazing places, the shopping. The kids love the anime and learning about how Japan became a powerhouse as far as economically. They get to see Mount Fuji. Kids are going to love Nara. Nara is really cool if you like animals. They're going to see all these deer everywhere. It's going to blow them away. My favorite city outside of Tokyo is probably a tie between Kyoto and Osaka, but I really liked Osaka. So a lot of movement on this trip, and just really seeing what would be considered the highlights of Japan. And I think a lot of students are going to want to go back pretty soon in their life. I know I want to go back.
So the map he showed, that is our tour. Everything he mentioned, that is some of the stuff that we're doing, plus a lot of extra things. So, when you show up to these meetings, I never know exactly what you want. You want me to talk all about Japan. I'm going to give you a little slideshow of past trips that I've taken. It's going to feel fast, because I'm not going to sit here and describe every picture. But every little activity, it was included in the trip. We have packed days where there's all kinds of surprises, stuff that I didn't even know that we're doing. Exciting little side adventures. We have local guides. This is in Munich. We have a guide that's assigned to us, and we'll have that when we go to Kyoto, we'll get a special guide just for Kyoto. All the while, we still have our ACIS person who's with us at all times. You're going to have to excuse how fast I go. This is escargot, if you don't know. The students get to try unique food, and one of the fun things I try to do, I want everyone to really engage and try new things and enjoy the local culture. So We'll do like a handout, like a sort of a challenge list of try this food, take a picture with this thing, trying to get them to like get out of their comfort zone and not just get Starbucks and McDonald's on the trip. And by the way, escargot is delicious. Who's ever had escargot before? Did you like it? It's hard not to like it. It just tastes like butter and garlic. So my group sizes have been very different over the years. This is the biggest group I've ever taken, 55 students. So big that we were 2 buses. Here is our amazing guide, Miss Libby, one of the most fantastic human beings I've ever met. I'm just kind of sad that she can't come with us to Japan, and we'll have to meet a new guide. But other trips had more reason. This is right after COVID, so there was a lot of pent-up demand to travel. And then now it's more like about 20 travelers. And again, I'm going to go as quick as I can. We have bus travel. We have obviously plane travel, high-speed train travel. These are pictures the students send me. We'll create a sort of a group chat while we're there with the WhatsApp, and everybody often posts pictures and shares their adventures. The days are very structured, and we spend a lot of time together, but especially around like lunchtime, we allow for exploration. And so I want you to be comfortable with that idea that of your son or daughter. They never can be alone, and I don't even want them to be with only one other person. I'd like them to be in groups of 3 or bigger, and we'll note all this down and we'll know who's with who. But I want them to be able to explore a little bit and have that independence. It's not like they're taking Ubers anywhere. It's more like, kind of like we're roaming about the size of the Roosevelt campus. And then we'll say something like, meet back here at the clock tower. That kind of thing. That's what our lunches might look like, situations like that. And I just want you to be comfortable with that idea. Because honestly, I think, hey, this is Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo went on the trip last year.
Yeah, it was a fun trip.
So we finally have someone in here who's gone. Can you recommend, did you have a great time?
Yeah, I had an absolutely great time. The schedule was pretty full. We get to eat very good and a lot of like free time to hang out. So it'll be better if you can group up with friends. And I know like when you first came, you might not know anyone and feel nervous, like you have to hang out by yourself, but like you get used to the group very fast.
By like the end of the first day or two,
yes.
even if you have nobody, the group forms just like, it sounds cheesy like I'm making it up. But because we're all together, you just kind of become friends with each other. We had a girl last year, wasn't a Roosevelt student. Her mom worked with my wife. They went on the trip. Everyone's asking, is she coming back? Is the girl, Brielle, coming back, right, Brielle?
Yeah.
It's like, so you don't worry if you don't know anyone who's going. You're still going to have a great time, and you'll have a friend by the end of the first day. Very likely.
Already crying on the last day.
People cry
Yeah.
because it was over. Again, I'm just showing you like different stuff from the past. I know if I was a parent, I would want to see photos of like, what have you done before? So I also spread out, these are a little bit older pictures. These are more brand new. A lot of these are from the trip that she was on, that Yo-Yo was on. This is 2 summers ago. So there's Natalie right there. We saw Wicked. So there are little additions and add-ons that are included. Of course, this is not a trip to Europe. So, I mean, look at this incredible dinner, just like everyone sharing family style, trying different. This is Indonesian food in Amsterdam. Okay, so I kind of went through that quickly. You can scan on the pink paper. If you ever want to find this slideshow, you can scan the QR code on the pink paper. I'll show you. And you get, or you can type in that. It's the same thing. It's a link to this tiny URL website, and there you can find this slideshow. Anything, if I go too quickly, you can also feel free to ask questions, especially towards the end. So let me talk more specifically about our trip to Japan. And I will say, it's my first time to Japan, so I'm not an expert. Has anyone been to Japan in the room? Okay, so you are the most knowledgeable person, or you guys are the most knowledgeable people about Japan. So I'm going to tell you what I think I understand exactly about what our plan is and what we're doing. So you can see the graphic of us starting in Tokyo and kind of where we end up, and we fly back home. It should be a direct flight, so no layover or anything like that. I could read all this to you, but it's pretty much going to come up, I think, on the following slides, because I kind of show you like a day by day. Some people came in late, and so I want to repeat that this flyer, while it's great that it has pictures in color, it was printed like 6 months ago. And the price is wrong, the dates are wrong, the number of days are wrong, because I tweaked the trip a little. I wanted to make sure that there was a buzz and people were interested. So we added a day to go to Disneyland. And we added some anime and Pokemon stuff. So that is not reflected in this, but those changes have been made. But it's always nice to have a color flyer. So we're going to start off in Tokyo. And we're going to arrive in the amazing city of Tokyo. That's Mount Fuji back there. And there are 2 towers in Tokyo. I'm learning about these things because I got to tell you about it. And we're going to go to one of the towers and I believe go up it.
How long is it to get to?
How long does it take to get there?
Will there be a stop in between?
There will not be a stop.
So it's a direct.
Do you know? My gut says like 12 hours, but I'm not sure. Does that sound about right? Okay. So about 12-hour trip. That is similar to like our flight, like Yo-Yo's flight, like when we left France and came straight home to California. It's kind of a similar amount. It's a lot, but it's better than stopping. And we'll have, if you sign up, we'll have lots of meetings about how to prepare for the travel and stuff. We'll certainly have a mandatory May meeting where it's like, all right, this is real. It's about to happen. You should buy this kind of pillow. You should prepare for the flight. You should get a book, whatever it might be. We're going to go up one of these towers together. Lots of markets in Tokyo. There are many shrines and temples and imperial palaces we will check out, and they're all just very gorgeous and very picturesque. Anything I show you, we're going to go see it. I found these pictures by looking at our itinerary and putting them in the slideshow. Just obviously gorgeous. I reached out to the company and said, what can we do to make the trip a little more appealing to young people? I want to make sure that they're excited about it and it's not just all shrines and temples and stuff. So we've added something called Tokyo Character Street, which is, from what I understand, it's like a shopping mall full of anime type merchandise and stuff, things that you can't find back at home. I tried to get some pictures as best I could, but it's a hard thing to photograph. If you see, it's kind of modular, you know? But you can imagine. Mr. Knight has been there. Some of you guys are here because of my friend Mr. Knight, who's also going on the trip with us, who also travels with us. And he's been there and he said it's quite a sight to behold.
Is he another teacher?
He's another teacher. He teaches AP European history. Yeah. I'm in talks with a couple other teachers too who might want to go as well. But right now, at a minimum, you're looking at Mr. Robinson, Mrs. Robinson, and Mr. Knight. And we also added something called the Pokemon Center, I guess, which is a major attraction. I like Nintendo a lot, but I'm not super into Pokemon. I know that a lot of students are, and there's great shopping to be done there as well. And then we added Disneyland, which I think for me is like one of the major things to get excited about. As students sign up for the trip, I'm going to give you some choices, but they have 2 Disneylands. I don't know if you know that. Let me help them. Oh, yeah, that's okay. If you want to sign in. They have 2 Disneylands, and I didn't really realize that until I was researching, and so they have one that's really a lot like, you look at it, it looks a lot like our Disneyland, but then they have a weird, strange one that's a little quirky called Disney Sea, S-E-A. And I'm inclined to want to do the weird one a little bit because I've seen our Disneyland a lot, but I'm going to leave it up to the group to do a vote. I've researched it. Apparently a park hopper is probably too ambitious. They are 15 minutes apart from each other, and they're hard to do in a day, you know what I mean? So to do 2 parks in a day would be even more of a task. But I'll let the group decide which Disney park they would rather go to. I've heard the other one is quite strange and weird and interesting, and they have rides that are nothing like you've seen before, like that don't exist in the world. Where the one that's like ours is, well, it's like ours. So, but if the whole group, if the majority of the group wants to go to the one that's like ours, I'm also fine with that too. This is a pretty famous ride they have there apparently, the Big Hero 6 ride. And then we're going to travel to the Mount Fuji area, okay, which is a volcano. And I mean, again, just gorgeous, very picturesque.
Are you traveling by bus, all of these?
No, there should be high-speed rail as well. So when we're at a local location, we'll probably do subway and bus. And then when we start to go like from city to city, likely high-speed rail. And if we go back to that map, I think the dashes, do we have that? Yeah, we do. When you see dashes, I think that's a train, I believe, yeah. I don't think we're taking a bus across. And of course, they're well known, they're famous for their amazing high-speed trains. So Mount Fuji. We included in the trip is a boat cruise that we will take together. There's just a lot of these little perks, and I'll mention 10 of them, and I'll forget another 10 because they keep our days busy. We have all kinds of stuff to do together. Also included in the trip is this ropeway that goes up a mountain. If you're super phobic of that type of thing, we can work something out with you. Okay. We had a girl on the last trip who had a really tough time with enclosed spaces, and so we had to make accommodations for her sometimes. Like really tight enclosed spaces. This is the view from the top of where we're going. Then it's on to Nagoya. And again, everything that's on here, I Googled and put pictures. We're gonna go to this lake too. Believe it or not, we're gonna go to the Toyota Museum. It's included in the itinerary. And that's not even the strangest museum we're gonna go to. Beautiful at night, as you can see. This is a shrine we will go to. Then it's on to Kyoto, where in Kyoto included will be a Japanese tea ceremony. I think even the clothing and everything, we're gonna get all of it. What is it called, the kimono? Yeah? Yeah, thank you. Kyoto is beautiful. I mean, just gorgeous pictures. I should also mention while you're here, we often do we have friends bringing a friend from another school. We have moms bringing daughters, and fathers bringing daughters, and every little mix match. The only thing I will say is unless a parent is going, I would prefer that somebody be like leaving their sophomore year, like it's June of next year, right? Leaving their sophomore year or older, only because some of like the independent time and stuff, I want to feel comfortable. Now Japan is like the safest country on earth, and 6-year-olds ride the subway and they go to school and stuff, but it just in general, I wouldn't want like a 12-year-old to go unless mom was going as well and they were kind of stuck together like glue. Anyway, Japanese tea ceremony. And you can see, looks like a sort of student group. Another gorgeous temple, just very picturesque. And then it's on to Osaka, which is a little more urban. And, believe it or not, this is the kind of place where we might say, okay, it's lunchtime. I'm going to have you go explore, stay in your groups, no smaller than 3. And by this time, we have the groups really well established. They even have little chats in the app, and we can communicate. And if anyone has a problem or whatever, we talk. And then we'll just say, meet right back here in front of this shop. But that's mostly like for lunchtime. This is the deer that he mentioned. There's a temple with just wild deer everywhere. And so you're guaranteed to see deer at this temple. I mean, look at that. It's just gorgeous. And believe it or not, we're going to go to the Cup Noodles Museum, which is supposed to be a pretty cool experience too. And I promise you, I have forgotten stuff, I've left stuff off. We also sometimes improvise and we talk to the group, and maybe everybody says, we really want to go. Like I jokingly said karaoke, but that's a big thing in Japanese culture is karaoke, and we might try to find a night where if the group wants to go out, we all go out together. It's a super safe environment. Nobody's out wandering at night, or we're either together or we're back at the hotel. I do let students sometimes, if we get back to the hotel at 9:15, we can hang out in the lobby, we can get food, we can snack, and then it's back to our rooms at 10, and I check the rooms and make sure everybody's there, and then we're good, and it's bedtime. Although there might be some late nights too, 11 or something like that. We get a lot of walking on these tours, and the European tours, we average about 75 miles over, about 10 days? Does that sound about right, Yo-Yo? So you'll wear comfortable shoes, and you be prepared to get a lot of steps in on your app. We got amazing food at the markets. We're getting towards the end of our trip now. And they have a delicious dessert that we have to try too. Every restaurant, ACIS is they pay such close attention. They agonize over making sure that we get different desserts every day so that people feel like they tried different things. Like one time they were gonna give us the same dessert, they're bringing it out, and we had it some other time on the tour, and the guide was like, no, and they sent it back. and they insisted we got something new. It's those little details that make them like a pretty special company. We're not just on our own. We're very well taken care of. This is, I mentioned to you, I like to do like challenges to try to make kids get out of their comfort zone and do fun things. And this is for Europe, but you know, like wear a fanny pack. Like some of it's a joke. Don't lose your passport. Never drink Starbucks. And you just try to mark off as many things as you can so that you're feeling like you're, you know, accomplishing something. And then it's back to the United States. It's another direct flight. You know, because of the way Japan is located, we go west. And so we're going over Hawaii and stuff. Although in this case, we're going east, back to the coast of California. So it's pretty much all over the ocean from here to there, outside of a couple islands. So this trip is more about just marking stuff off your bucket list. I mean, I assume if you're here, you know the value of travel, that it really can change you as a person. I mean, I come back and I just have a whole different you see me trying to tell you about Japan now, and it's like I haven't been there. If I could do this presentation to you after the trip, I could gush and tell you all about exactly what I absorbed, but there's no learning, there's no teaching quite like going to a place and really experiencing that place. Health and safety, of course, is our number one concern. The group sticks together. You know, outside of those moments during lunch when we're on our own, we're constantly counting heads and making sure that everybody is there. It'll be kind of, I'll walk you through how to get a cell phone plan for Japan and make sure that we can all talk with each other. Everybody's got to have cell service in case there's any kind of issue at all. Never had, you know, knock on wood, I've never had anybody get like terribly sick or need anything like that, but there are provisions with the company that if somebody had like a fever or something, we would work it out, we would make it work. One of the adults would stay back and make sure they were okay. You know, like whatever the situation called for, we would make it work. So health and safety is a big deal to this company. There's a phone number 24 hours a day. If a kid ever got separated, they could call. But of course, they're going to have my WhatsApp, and they would just call me if there was a problem. We've never lost a kid. We've never had anyone go missing. It's a very safe, very structured. Some of you guys are in my class, and you know that I'm kind of like organized and everything. You know, I'm a teacher, so everything's just kind of like locked in. And the trips are the same way, very organized. So what's included in this price? The flights, obviously, the hotels. Everybody gets their own bed. Our amazing tour manager. The tips for everybody from bus drivers to the tour manager to local guys, they're all included in the price of restaurants. We will never need to tip. Our amazing local food, the train tickets, the cable car, the boat ride, any museum we go into, the rope tram, Disneyland. Everything's included except for the lunches, essentially. And this is another visual for exactly what I just said. I think our baggage is even included as well, like for the airline, because of the distance of the flight. You can bring whatever bag you like. We encourage, you know, packing as light as you can, but that's a conversation for later. And again, what is not included, I mentioned lunches and souvenirs, typically. So the price of the trip, on one hand, you're getting an amazing value and the plane ride and all that stuff. And I try not to hide this price. It was on the pink paper. But at the same time, it is the most expensive trip I've ever taken with students. Europe is about $5,600. So this was $5,999. And then I added the day and I added Disneyland. And so this is the new price. It's kind of a trade-off. I feel like Disneyland is kind of worth the benefit of adding it, unfortunately. But I don't show you this price lightly. And I know that if my son came home and said, I want to go to Japan, and I looked at this, I would be like, oh my God. You're here, and I assume you had a pretty good idea of what the price would be. You get a whole $50 off if you sign up for AutoPay. You can make a deposit now and wait to pay it off in January or February. You can do it by monthly payments, and that's where you get that little $50 discount. They have a lot of flexibility. And even if February rolls around and you're not quite ready, they often will say, oh, we'll give you more time. And so that is the cost. And you can divide it up by the months between now and departure and kind of see what your payment would be. If you feel like you're going to go and you're looking for the most kind of flexibility where it doesn't hit you all at once, signing up for their payment plan is kind of the best idea, because they let you push out the payments closer to departure instead of having the whole lump sum due in I think it's late February, something like that. So it just gives you a little more time as we leave in June. As if it sounds a little crazy, but they told me the price is only locked in until October 1st. You know, they're a company and they They're going to play their games. They haven't exactly told me what it's going to go up, but I would expect maybe at least a couple $100 to $400 of the price could go up on October 1st. I don't know, and they'll say that it's adjusted then. Yeah.
What's the deposit then by October?
They don't exactly tell me, so I tell parents a couple $100 would be good to show that you're serious about going. Let's cancel that. There is everybody in, this is a weird question, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, perhaps I'll say it and you don't have to raise your hand. But one thing I would want to know is if you're like a U.S. citizen or not, or if you'll need to get, because if you're a U.S. citizen, you just can fly there. You don't have to get permission, you just use your passport and you show up and you say, I'm on vacation. If you're not a U.S. citizen, if you are a citizen of Canada and you're down here, well, Canada probably doesn't count, but the Philippines, and you're a legal resident, the process is a little different, and I just want you to speak with me privately about there's just more work you have to do. Like, you got to get a visa and stuff. And we've had plenty of students successfully do it, and then we have other ones where it's like the week before and their paperwork is still pending, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So have a conversation with me so I know if you're in that type of situation. The reason I mentioned it is I saw this. There is optional insurance that you can buy. If I remember correctly, you put money down towards this trip, and if you change your mind between now and January, you can walk away minus like a deposit. And by the way, any deposit goes towards the trip. If it's the day before the trip and something happens that means you need to stay here, I would hate it, but you could lose all your money if you don't go on the trip. And so they have me tell you about their insurance plan. There are different tiers of insurance. There's like, everybody gets the basic, and then there's like a medium. I recommend if you're gonna get the insurance, you should get the best one, which is $495. With that one, it could just be a couple days before, and you say, oh my gosh, Grandpa passed away, this trip is not gonna happen. Or I got COVID, this trip is not gonna happen. You could walk away and get all your money back in cash, minus the cost of insurance. If you buy I don't recommend you buy the middle tier. The middle tier insurance is like you'd get credit towards a future trip and cash. And the reality is, a lot of you are going off to college and stuff, you're probably not going on a future trip with this company. Where are my juniors at? How many people in the room are a current junior? Okay, just one, all right. If it means anything to you, I'm probably gonna do another trip next year to Europe. Okay, so probably back on the Europe train after this. Should you get the insurance? It's really a matter of your personal situation and how sure are you that you're gonna go. If you feel really certain this is definitely happening, you're gonna go. It's a big cost, and so no judgment if you don't. But if there's any reason that you might not go, you may want to think about getting the insurance. I mentioned that there are payment plans, and the website has ways to help you raise money and ask Grandpa for like a graduating gift or something like that, and send a little letter and those kind of things. And I think people can pay right into your account and like help you pay for the trip. It is something that you kind of unlock when you sign up and you log into your portal, and you can see all these different buttons and options. And these are the different plans, and I recommend the best insurance possible if you're going to get it. This might be one of the only times you see this. I'll give you my Google Voice number. It's not my actual phone number, but it's the best thing. You call it, it calls me. You text me, it texts me. If anybody wants like a more like immediate, quick reply, that's the way you can reach me. Of course, the email, I answer those quickly too. So either way, you could reach out to me. All right. One more thing, it's on everybody's pink paper, but there is a Remind code for this trip if you want to join the Remind. If you're gonna go, you should definitely join. If you're like really excited or interested in it, you should join too. And these are things I've already told you. If you want to know like how to sign up, this is my little website that's like a Google Doc of like different links. It'll have a YouTube video of this meeting. It'll have the slideshow. It'll have a how to register clicking link. But you will eventually register on acis.com. But the link to that is on this page. The QR code on the pink paper will also take you exactly to this location. So I put this on here to like give me more things to talk about in case I like didn't answer any of this stuff. I told you that the color flyer had some wrong information. The students can pick their own roommates. So I work very hard to make sure everybody's really happy with their rooming assignments. And so if you got a couple friends, or if you don't have anybody, we'll make it work no matter what, and I'll put you in the room of your choosing. Yeah.
Is it two
That's a good question. I believe it's 3 to a room. Everybody gets their own bed. Yeah. If it's sometimes students travel and it's super important to them that it be 2, they want to. It's me and my friend and that's it, and I don't want a third. You can pay. Everything can be bought, right? So you can pay to make your room just have 2 people in it if that was something that was super interesting. One other thing about parents traveling, I should be transparent about. I talked about like sometimes moms travel with daughters. Adults cost more, as if it, cost, but adults cost more because they're in a room, and then you would even have to pay more if you want to guarantee that you're not roomed with some other mom, and you can pay to room with your child. There are all kinds of like tiers of options. Show of hands, are there any adults who are like, I'm thinking about it, or is this not even something I should talk about? Okay, yeah. So it is an option. You can pay to room with your child. Sometimes the child doesn't want that though. So talk with them. You could just pay the bare minimum and be placed possibly with another mother on the trip. Sometimes I can look at who's going and tell you, well, it's me and my wife and there's no other adult women, so like you'll be on your own, so don't pay. You know what I mean? So I can but if it's like 2 moms going, then I'll say, oh, the math says you'll be put together unless you pay for a separate, or whatever the situation, whatever you want to do. Who can travel? I mentioned the age, I like a kid who's in their sophomore year now and older. But if it's like, let's say like brothers going and you have a freshman brother or freshman, okay, stick together. You got to promise you're going to be sticking together and kind of watching out for each other. I'm not like super concerned, but I just feel like if they're younger, I want an older sibling or something to go with them. I mean, grandmas can go, moms can go. We had an older gal go on the Europe trip, and she was trying her best. And my wife knows she was working, and she made it work, and she made it happen despite the 70 miles. So it is possible. If you don't know anybody, that's okay. We mentioned with Yo-Yo that you're going to make friends real quick, no matter what. But if you are bringing friends, even better. That's fantastic. Everybody's in their own bed. The rooms are obviously separated by gender. I expect good behavior on the trip. I want to point out that I do everything I can to make this the most memorable, amazing. I want them to have like so much fun, and we'll try our best to. Oh my gosh, everyone record. We're gonna eat this food, and we just want it to be like so exciting. I know that this is a big investment. I want them to come back and be like, oh my God, that was like amazing. And I still run into kids. I ran into this kid, Nick Thomas. And he was like, that is one of the best decisions I ever made in my life when I traveled with you 2 years ago. And it just like, that's what I want. I don't want anyone to come back and say, man, that wasn't really worth it or whatever. So the behavior on the trip, I'm loose and I'm relaxed and we have a good time, but I don't want anyone to take advantage and make any poor decisions and, sneak out and try to buy something they're not supposed to buy. So you need to behave yourself, and there's a warning of like, if you don't behave yourself, you'll be put on a plane back home. I've never had to do that. In my, 12 or 13 trips, I've never sent a kid back home. So, but you got to say it on these meetings, just in case so that you guys know. And if you're going to bring a friend that I don't know, because you can bring like a non-Roosevelt person, we need to kind of vouch for their character and make sure they're a trustworthy, good person who's going to follow all the rules. And, when I say lights out and we're going to bed, well, not lights out, but we're going to our room, the expectation is you're not leaving your room, stuff like that. Never been a problem. It's great. Not an issue. Obviously, they'll need a passport if they want to travel. One thing about the passport is it cannot expire within 6 months of the dates that we go. So even if it expires really any time in 2026, you'll need to renew it. Even though you might be like, well, I'm not going in December. Japan, I guess because they worry you might stay behind or something. Of course, you're not going to, but the passport should go past 2026, and if it doesn't, you'll want to renew it. Okay. I skipped free time, but I talked about it already, so I think we're good. We'll have 2 follow-up meetings. One will be in March, where we will select roommates, and I'll talk more about like what we're doing, and maybe you want to watch this movie for like some research or like different little tips, and you get to see in the room everyone who's going, so you get a good idea. Oh my gosh, I know you from psychology class or whatever, and we'll figure out right then and there who's going to room together. And then in May, this is one I want. By the way, the March one is students. The May one is everybody, students and parents too, because We got to talk about all the logistics of, you know, if you have to buy certain adapters or what you can and can't bring. For instance, they have rules over there. I got a special flyer about Japan that, like, it's a very cash-based society, so we'll have to do things a little different than Europe, where we use credit cards for everything. There are rules with medication, what you can and can't bring, so that's the kind of things we'll deal with in May. And I can help you with it sooner, but I want to make sure everybody hears about all the rules and regulations and stuff. I mentioned they're a cash-heavy society. There are some American credit cards that do go there and they work, like a Chase travel card, but a lot of them don't. And certainly like a debit card won't, from what I understand, which is going to be a little different for our trips. We don't usually carry cash very much. But we will make it work. And again, Japan is one of the safest places on earth. I don't worry about any kind of thievery or something like that. Where in Europe, I do. You know, you'll have thieves standing next to you on the subway and you can see it and you like hold your bag. It's not like that in Japan. We're not going to have that situation in Japan. Very polite, very much like take your turn and wait in line, and it's just a different type of culture. I talked about visas if you're not a U.S. citizen. I talked about how the price is, you know, maybe it's a gimmick. You know, the companies they do gimmicks, right? They're making business, but that the price could go up after September 30th. That's what they've told me. Okay, I'm gonna take a sip of water, and you can tell me if you have any questions about anything. Yeah.
What airline are you guys on?
I can look at it. I can ask the company, but offhand I don't know. If it was Europe, I could tell you the ones that we took, like KLM and different ones, but I don't know without asking.
Will they have to pay for like your bags? You know, sometimes
I think it'll be free. I think it should be included due to the, like, international flights typically have free carry-on or checked bag. The checked bags, I mean, you know, the weather out there will be hot, so we'll be dressing pretty lightly. So the bag amount of volume of clothing shouldn't be super high. The company always wants me to tell students only carry-on bags, which would be like a carry-on bag, which is like the size of this cardboard box, and then a backpack too, maybe even a purse. You know, students, they kind of want to bring more, and we have in the past had kids bring checked bags. Some, like maybe half the group would bring a larger bag. It was a little problematic in Europe on the last trip, getting on and off the train with half the group having checked bags. But if the group is small and we got guys that can help out, like, we can make it work. But my on the record advice is try to bring a smaller carry-on bag and a backpack in addition. But either way, no matter what you bring, it should be included in the price of our ticket. Remember that boarding the train that one time?
Oh my God.
With the bags, it was a little bit scary. Just in terms of, like, you have 2.5 minutes to get on this train and get 40 people on with all these
But like,
bags.
people have to come down first.
And people have to exit the train, so you have to
Yes.
build that into the time too. Anyway, I don't know how it is in Japan. You know, I'm not sure exactly the routines in Japan, but no matter what, it's kind of a fun experience. Like, we boarded a train in 90 seconds, you know, like, with all our bags. So, do you have any other questions? Yes. Oh yeah? Yeah, so remember when I told you I changed the dates of the trip? I guess the dates changed. It became a weekend. One of the days became a weekend when we travel. I think we leave here a Friday, but we arrive there a Saturday. The company's pretty cool with me, and I'm gonna reach out to them. What Nixon's trying to say is the price doesn't match what you said, right? It's $100 more. I noticed that right before the meeting, and I'm like, what the heck? So I'm gonna reach out to them. They usually are really cool with me, and if I say, I printed all my stuff, I got this price on there, they'll fix it. But the reason the price went up is because I changed the dates, and now we are at the airport on a weekend, and tickets cost a little bit more. But if I beg and beg, I think that they'll change it back to the old price. So I'll tell them, I told you guys you could sign up, and I promised that I would fix it. They're the kind of company that, like, when I ask for stuff, they do it. And so I'll get the price fixed back to what it was. Okay. Right now it's $100 more, but even if you put a deposit, feel assured, I'll fix the price for you. Okay. Any other questions? Well, you guys know Yo-Yo, and you know me. She just showed up, by the way. I think she's coming on this trip, right? Yep. Yeah. So, but I mean, I highly recommend ask anyone that traveled with me. Did he make it fun? Was it interesting? Was it worth the money? And it's my job on those 10 days to make sure that it is worth their money and that they come back just glowing with what a great time that they had. So, yeah. You want to share?
So, Like I noticed last year it was a lot of walking and it's very hot, so I suggest to get a fan.
Yeah.
Like the day at Rome, we wake up at 7 and then we got back to hotel at 11:30. It was a lot. That was the tiredest day.
That was the hardest day.
Yeah, that was the hardest day.
Yeah.
So really bring electronic fan or something at least, cause we all brought one during the trip and it's very not worth it. It's very expensive and
Easier to bring one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's easier to bring one
Yeah.
and bring battery charger.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it'll be hot and a little humid out there
Mhm.
when we go. So, we'll talk about it in those other meetings, but you can bring fans and misters and that kind of thing to keep you comfortable. I kind of made fun of my wife for buying fans before we went, and then I'm like, will you share your fan with me? So no judgment. I want to release you because I've taken up an hour of your time, but if you want to hang out and ask questions, you can feel free to do that. I encourage you to sign up. I think it'll be an amazing trip to remember. I know the cost is what the cost is, and so I am sensitive, to any reason that might stand in the way. But I promise you, I'm going to do everything I can on the trip to squeeze every dime out and make the value there so that you come back and say, that was amazing, that was worth it. So, yes.
The price that's listed, is that the price
So that's-
already with the discount of $400?
Apparently, yes.
Okay.
Or at least it's like whatever, I kind of guess what it would go up. I guess it'll go up 200 to 400 on October 1st.
Okay.
Because, it's like when you travel, the closer you get, the more prices rise. And I know we're not that close, but when you're buying tickets for 30 people, it's different than if you're buying 1 or 2 tickets. So, this is the game. And, they also know that by raising it, it makes me get out here and promote more and try to have urgency. And so it's all a part of the game a little bit, but I'm not in charge of the game. I just have to play by the rules that we all do. So, you are free to go and you're free to stay. Whatever you would like to do, it's up to you. But usually parents want to stay behind and ask more questions, so I'm not going anywhere. But you're free to go if you want to. Okay? Yes.
What other creative ways you can suggest for fundraising?
The reality is things like a group car wash or something, they just don't yield the type of results to make it worth it. In the past, I've had students get, after school jobs and they make an agreement with a family member, I'll do half and you do half and that kind of thing. But in terms of fundraisers, the best advice that I have is kind of setting up a sort of a website, like using their website to get donations from family, kind of like a GoFundMe, but without the GoFundMe, although a GoFundMe is great too. But essentially, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, kids are ingenious and they might go buy a box of chocolates at Costco and sell them on campus or something, and I can't stop them, but I can't advocate for any of that. Which, by the way, I should mention that this is not technically, it's not like a Roosevelt trip where you go to the front office and say, I'm talking about this is just more my own thing. And if any teacher that's going to New York with students or it's off the books because the district assumes no liability for any of the legal stuff. And so ACIS assumes any kind of liability. So I feel like it's important that I mention that while I'm thinking about it too. So, all right. Thank you so much for coming. And I'm not going anywhere, so feel free to stay if you want to ask any further questions. But I really, really appreciate you guys coming. Thanks for taking the time. I'm going to record this and post it on YouTube, and there's a lot of other kids that couldn't make it tonight, and they're going to watch it. And I'm probably going to, let's be honest, I'm going to have to re-record it where I'm more visible. But a lot of kids are planning on signing up, but they just couldn't make this meeting because I did a late push today. I visited 500 kids today and told them about this. So many of them had plans. Okay, goodbye. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.